Howdy, partners. I just watched Oppenheimer in 70mm IMAX, not once, but twice in the span of 72 hours. So, yeah, that was quite the experience and just wanted to talk about it. So, let's get right on into it. This is going to be a little bit of a weirder video because this is kind of a film review, but it's more of like an experience thing because I don't really do film reviews that much or really ever besides for when Fritzky won't shut the fuck up about me posting something on Letterbox. So this is kind of just me talking about a film that was probably my third most anticipated film of this year, behind John Wick 4 and Spider Verse, obviously. But now this honestly maybe my it is probably going to be my favorite film. It's hard because I haven't watched John Wick in a while, so I haven't. I also did do well, not to the extent of this, obviously, in that I watched John Wick once in the Cinemax theater and then once in the regular theater, and I did those actually back to back days. In a 24 hour, actually, I did those both in back to back days in a 48-hour span. So I did do them like them similarly enough in the same aspect of, I guess, Oppenheimer with John Wick 4, but I think this is going to ultimately trump John Wick 4. And I think once I rewatch John Wick 4, I think it probably already has. But either way, so I'm going to just talk about the film a little bit before I go into the overall experience of watching two 70mm IMAX films. Why I think it was a bad idea for this one to do it. But in terms of the film, the the casting was almost near perfect. The only real things you can maybe argue about is some of the minor characters, because there's gonna be a lot of faces and names you recognize with this project, which I think is also part of the reason why the project is so good, because there was a lot of bigger names and much smaller roles, and you can maybe make the argument that there could have been some slightly better castings in some of them, but they also didn't have a lot of screen time to begin with, and most of them were usually just there in the background. Like, so I don't really think that's a real argument you can make. And besides for that, pretty much perfect casting. Um, Dialogue is absolutely fucking fantastic. Growing up, I was very much a historical and mathematics nerd. Not to the degree of these people, obviously, of like the people they are acting that they are representing, because these are actual physicists who went to college and studied and did all that shit. And the closest thing I did to that was join a theoretical physics club in high school because I went into chemistry because I liked chemistry a little bit more than I liked physics. But I still very much appreciated a lot of the time they spent into like the conversations of theory, them actually trying to practice it, the teaching, the calculations, them conversing with each other, the way they kind of have, with like some characters they have a respect for each other, some characters they don't, which I think kind of mirrors both real life and the actual scientific field, and that some people have respect for others, others don't really like others due to the fact of like conflicting arguments of either worldview or of theory and stuff like that. Overall, the dialogue was also very great because obviously the film, you see it through Oppenheimer's view, and you see him kind of go through, you talk, you see him go through, you see him meet new people at the very beginning, and then you see how his conversations and the way he just acts around those people compared to the beginning to the very end kind of shift and change as like the people he first meets on like his tour to Germany to learn under I think it was like Heisenberg for a little bit. The people he met there, he kept very close to him. He reveres them as friends. You can see the different change of the change in mannerism when he talks. From more of like an extreme formality to like a very relaxed, kind of like anything else you would do with like a first person you meet or a friend. First time it's usually like very formal. You're not like super kind of relaxed and like lay back and kind of say whatever you want. But then like later on, obviously that's how it is. I feel like that was also really nice and organic. The visuals are amazing. They usually are in a Nolan film, but in this, they are quite amazing. And yeah, it's pretty much like, I could, you know, I'm not an expert here, so I can't really go into like camera works and all that angles and stuff, but it's just a very visibly appealing film. A lot of the shots with the explosions and the way they bring in like the guilt of Oppenheimer and his thought process, because again there are moments in the film, because it's through his eyes, people will be talking and then he's like in his own head thinking, and then he starts imagining things and things start appearing onto the screen that only he can see, and it kind of horrifies him, which I think is another really great touch. I don't want to go into too much because I want this to be spoiler free, but either way, so that was my overall liking of the film. In terms of the actual experience of IMAX, I really did love it. Um, the aftertaste of the second viewing was pretty bad for me, but from the first viewing, didn't really have any problems after watching it. There's going to be a lot of bright, shocker. The film about making an atomic bomb is going to have a lot of explosion, loud noises, bright lights. After the first viewing, I had like absolutely no problems doing it. Granted, in the first viewing, I also did sit in the very top row compared to the second viewing, which was like the middle, which was almost like dead middle. So that could also have an effect of like being farther away from the screen, maybe been easier on like the eyes and stuff like that compared to being like dead center middle. But the first one had like no problems. Um, like the IMAX viewing is just fucking insane. It's so the screen is just absolutely massive to the point where you just truly feel immersed, which was one thing that made the second viewing kind of nice, or not really, I guess nice in a way, is just different than the first viewing, because the first viewing you get this nice wide angle, you can see everything, but then like when you're sitting like dead in the middle and you're looking around, you just feel like surrounded by how large the screen is compared to like sitting all the way up top, kind of looking down and being able to see like kind of using your eyes to just see like a very wide span compared to just like kind of looking and just being like surrounded by, feeling like you're being like surrounded by everything. So in terms of like the second watching was the one where I had a lot of problems. I also started to notice that because obviously I saw the first one on Wednesday and the second one on Friday, which is also part of the reason why I didn't stream at all last week. Um, or I didn't stream, yeah, last week because you guys will see this Wednesday. Um, so when that happened, like when we were sitting in the middle, like I said, I had that feeling of like being surrounded. It was surreal. It felt, I don't know if it was, yes, I would say it felt a little bit more like, um, what's the word? What's the word? It's, inter- immersive. Yeah, immersive. Felt a little bit more immersive, but at the same time, the lights were also, everything was a lot more brighter. um, Granted, day after after seeing all the bright lights, the noises again, leaving the theater, my eyes were kind of felt dry and like it was kind of a struggle to keep them open. And then I also kind of had a headache, and then it wasn't really too bad until I tried going to sleep when, because obviously when after watching that and like you get a headache and your eyes are tired as fuck. I went to bed early, especially because I work in the mornings on Saturdays, and I remember I tried going to bed, and I go to and one thing I have to do to help me sleep, due to some sleeping conditions I have, I do a breathing technique to kind of like mellow down the body and stuff like that to help me sleep. And when I went to go do the breathing techniques, my left ear it was just trying to remember like exactly, it was like, it was something like that. It was just basically just a bunch of like, every time I'd breathe in and out, my left ear would just pop. It would just go like it was just constant, just unpop, unpop. It was like pop. It was like constant pop, unpop, pop. Oh fuck. I am tripping on my words, but you get the idea. I could not sleep. Like me breathing, me like trying to breathe, do the breathing thing. I could not sleep, which meant I had to just lay there and just hope that I fell asleep, which sucked ass because I would basically I would lay there for like 20 minutes, fall asleep, sleep for like 40 minutes, wake up, and then have to rinse and repeat. And I did that like from about, what was it? It was like 9 o'clock, I think. I did that from like 9 o'clock to like 6 o'clock in the morning. And like I barely got any, like I it barely felt like I got any sleep. I was so tired. I remember waking up in the morning and I had work and like I have work at like 10 in the morning. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my God, do I text my manager like, yo, I fucked up my ear. This shit is hurting. I got a massive headache. I can't really come in today. I was like, I don't know, but I also don't want to call out because I kind of need the money. And it's like, so I kind of just played it by like, kind of played it by ear, knock on words, you know, drank some water. Waited an hour, went, made some breakfast, had a good hearty breakfast, and then kind of waited a little bit, relaxed, um, you know, didn't wear any headphones, didn't put any earbuds in my left ear. If I was laying on the couch, I only laid on my back or my right side, tried keeping the left side as untouched as possible. And then eventually, and then it kind of let up, and then I went to work, and pretty much by the time work ended, it was gone, which about makes sense because that was about like that would have been about the 24-hour mark from after the film ended to by the time I got home. So on Saturday. So overall, it wasn't like this insane everlasting effect of like, oh, I'm permanently blind or like, oh, you're got damage in the right ear, even though it probably did fuck up my vision to the point where actually, you know what? I think I am considered legally blind already. So it may have just prolonged, it may have just sped up the deterioration of my eyes by maybe like a year or two. But I honestly, at this point, it's whatever. So either way, I guess just if we were to go into like a conclusion of this or a TLDR, would I recommend watching Oppenheimer in 70 millimeter IMAX? Absolutely. Would I recommend doing it twice within the span of 72 hours? Fuck no. Um, that was really painful for me. That second viewing, like I said, granted, it was in a much different spot. It was in a different spot than I did the first time, but mm, that shit still fucking hurts. Oh my God, that night was rough. But either way, that was my experience with IMAX and Oppenheimer. Love it. I'll probably see it. I don't know if I'll see it again in theaters. I might just wait until it gets on DVD to see it, but I don't know. If I do see it in theaters, I'll make the original video plan of what this was supposed to be of just a regular theatrical view versus 70 millimeter IMAX. But then my dad wanted to go see it, so we went. I was like, you know what, fuck it, I can't pass up seeing IMAX again. And then this whole shit happened. So that's this video. If I do go see it again in theaters, I'll make another video about that. But hope you guys did enjoy this. This is a little weird. Obviously, this isn't like my first film related video on this channel. This is like the fifth one, I think. So I don't really know if I'm going to be, I don't really plan on uploading that much film stuff on here. But if you guys do like seeing it, obviously I'll post it. I'll post my opinion. I'll post, if you guys like it, I'll fucking post more about it. All you gotta do is ask because I will literally pretty much do anything. If you guys did like the video, please subscribe and leave a like or a comment or any one of the three. I don't really, it doesn't matter too much as long as you do at least one. It'll help with interactions and, you know, basic algorithm stuff. But for all these space cowboys and girls who are already a part of the posse, thank you very much for supporting me. I look forward to our paths crossing once again, and until next time.